Hello, I am TL Painter, and this is my channel where I talk about books and book-related things and all of that nonsense. And today I'm going to be doing more of a casual sort of chatty video where I'm going to be rearranging my bookshelves in light of summer being just around the corner. If you haven't noticed, which I can't blame you if you haven't, I like to rearrange my bookshelf based on the season, and at this time I'm going to be doing a summer theme. Originally I thought I would do yellows and oranges or reds as my outward facing books, but I was told by a couple people that blue and yellow makes more sense, so that is what I'm going to be going for. Also going to change up the current look of this because it's kind of bland and typical at the moment, and I'd like to make it a little more interesting to look at than it is right now. So I'll be doing some before and after videos and maybe cutting in some things that I'm doing, and also just talk about the decisions that I'm going to be making as I go through this. And just a disclaimer, it is currently storming outside, so if you can hear a little bit of background noise, that's what you're hearing. Unfortunately, despite all of the other powers that I have, I cannot control the weather. So the first thing that I need to do is pick the books that I want facing outward. For this series of shelves, I think I'm going to do 4 cover facing books. So I'm going to pick out 2 yellow books and 2 blue books that I want to have facing outward. In order to do that, let's just go ahead and take all of the books off my shelf and set aside the blue and yellow ones. Okay, now I just need to tidy up this mess right here, and then I will show you what my blue and yellow books are. Clean enough. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those books now. So we actually have a lot for blue. I'm going to go ahead and just show the contenders because most of my books, it turns out, are blue, which is interesting. Blue or black or white. So Morning Star, Jade Legacy, Ender's Game is kind of blue, a little bit. Snuff by the beloved Terry Pratchett. Wintersmith, also by Terry Pratchett. Snow Crash. And then the last contender, although it's not super blue, is going to be Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. I'm going to nix Morning Star, I think, because even though I like the cover, it wasn't really my favorite. Before They Are Hanged is a little too gray for my taste, and then Wintersmith is pretty good, but I think that Snuff's blue is a lot stronger. And then out of these last 3, I think Snow Crash is the most visually appealing, and it has a red, which is a little summery. So I'm gonna go ahead and do Snow Crash and Snuff for my blues. Okay, so Snuff and Snow Crash for my blues. Let's go ahead and take a look at the yellows. So not nearly as much yellow, but that actually makes the decision pretty easy to make. My contenders for this are going to be Dark Age and Golden Sun. Dark Age being my favorite of the Red Rising novels, so that is almost definitely going to be one of the 2 books I pick. And then 3 Terry Pratchett books, of course. Reaper Man, my current favorite, but I have already had that outward on a display during fall. And then The Fifth Elephant and Raising Steam. And my last yellow book that I want to bring up, The Blade Itself, also by Joe Abercrombie. So I've kind of already picked out which ones that I really want to put up here. Definitely Dark Age is going to go on there. And then I'm thinking The Fifth Elephant, the yellows and the reds, and a little bit of, I guess, light blue, although it's mostly white. I don't know. I think this one works really well for an outward-facing summer cover. plus the fire because it is going to be insanely hot. So those are the ones I'm going to pick, and these other ones will go elsewhere. Okay, so those are the 4 books that I want to have facing with their covers out. The other ones are going to be spine out, but some I actually kind of want to try having with the pages facing out. I've seen people do this with undecorated pages before, and sometimes the aesthetic can look really awesome, so I'm gonna go ahead and give that a try. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I may end up completely nixing it entirely and cutting this whole thing out of the video, but I am going to go ahead and give it a try. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick out some of the books that maybe just don't have interesting enough spines, and I will turn those with the pages facing outward and see if I like the look of it. I'm also going to try to have 4 Discworld shelves this time instead of the 3 that I had, and then I want to try to spread them out a little bit more than I have in the past. It's going to look a little different from how it has, because especially during the spring, I just had all of the Discworld novels arranged in order right here, which didn't look all that great because I only have 2 bookshelves here, and so I just had a Discworld shelf and then an everything else shelf, which, I don't know, to me it just didn't look that great. It would have looked a little bit better. Something just flew in my eye. Anyway, it would have looked better if I'd had another shelf on the other side, but instead it was just Discworld and everything else, and I didn't really like the look of that. So I'm gonna try something new, and I'm gonna space them out across about 4 shelves this time around. We'll see how that looks. It's time for me to arrange everything. Okay, so that is that. I think that I am pretty happy. I think that I am pretty happy with it. There are definitely some things that I may move around and shift a bit, but at the moment, I think that it looks a lot more interesting than what it did before. I played around with colors and things. I turned some books so that they were facing outward as opposed to with their spines facing out, and I have things that are a little bit side stacked, which I think adds some more detail and texture to the background overall, so everything doesn't look like this bland slab. I'm pretty excited about having this as my backdrop for the rest of the summer, but I would love to hear if you think that it's terrible, because I don't know, maybe I could do with the good ego elimination. Oh, and I wanted to point out, you may have noticed that there is a blank spot over here next to Shadow of the Gods. That is because my copy of Hunger of the Gods was water damaged when it arrived, and I have been waiting for a replacement for a long time. It is really challenging to find a hardcover copy of this book. The whole silver lining of that situation, I suppose, is that when I went to UPS to return the water damaged book, the UPS guy actually waived the fee, because when he asked me, hey, why are you returning this book? I said, oh, I'm sure that it's great, I just haven't had a chance to read it yet because it's damaged. And I told him that I love Shadow of the Gods AirPods and he said that it's been on his TBR, but he's going to move it up on his TBR because some random stranger he doesn't know told him that he should really read it. And then he waived my return fee. I don't know, that was a good moment. Not really worth having this blank spot on my shelf, but it was nice. So here is my new summer shelf, changes notwithstanding. I hope that you like it because you'll be seeing it for a few months yet. Thank you very much for taking the time to check out this video. If you'd like to see another video from me, you can do so by clicking up here. And until next time, bye.